Hey BTS crew, welcome to episode 2 of Breaking the Silence. Go ahead, grab your tea, coffee, get comfortable, and settle in with me. In this series, we're opening up about conversations that are often hidden in the shadows. Our primary focus will be on bullying, an issue that affects countless young people, shaping their confidence, relationships, and even their future. In part two of this episode, we will address other key issues that affect or that plague the mental health of our young people, like domestic violence and growing up with strict parents. In this episode, you will hear the voice of an 18-year-old who has bravely chosen to share their experience. Their identity will remain private, but their words carry the weight of truth and resilience. This is not just a story about pain, it's about survival, reflection, and the power of speaking out. As you listen, I invite you to lean in with empathy. These are the voices that remind us why silence must be broken. But before we get into this interview, let's get a general understanding of what bullying is and the various forms of bullying. Bullying isn't always physical. It can be verbal through hurtful words or constant teasing. It can also be social when someone is excluded, isolated, or targeted by rumors. And in today's world, it can also be digital with cyberbullying spreading through social media and online platforms. No matter the form, the impact is real. Bullying can leave scars on a person's confidence, their mental health, and their sense of belonging. That's why it is so important to recognize it, talk about it, and stand against it. With that understanding, we will now hear directly from someone who has lived through these experiences. For the purpose of this interview and to protect the identity of our guest will be referred to as David.
Hi, David. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Breaking the Silence. It's truly a privilege to have you here. I want to begin by saying how proud I am of you for choosing to share your story. I know this is a sensitive topic, and speaking about it takes incredible courage. Your willingness to open up not only shows your resilience, but also reflects your hope that others who are facing similar challenges can find strength and guidance through your words. So, David, can you tell us about your experience with bullying?
Yes, I actually can. To be honest, my experience with bullying was very intense and it started at the infant stage. Like around grade one going up, it started around there. And
Okay.
and going up stage by stage, things got worse for me. I went through both verbal and physical bullying, and to me, people may disagree on what I'm about to say, but that's just how I feel about what I went through. And for me, the verbal bullying had a very intense feeling on me, more than because in this world, people just say whatever they want to people without thinking of what the recipient may feel on what they say. And
Yeah.
right now, I'm a teenager. I'm at the age I'm going to college right now, and my confidence, meaning the way I look at myself, to be honest, is very low. And at my age, I'm supposed to be watching myself and saying, like, wow, God has created something very handsome, beautiful. People always tell me that,
Right.
but when I look in the mirror, I do not see what people say.
The reason you feel that way is because of what you experienced growing up, right? So, can you
Yeah.
just give us a brief example of something that was said to you or something that was done to you that had a lasting impact up to this day? like your experiences in infant, going on to primary and secondary school. Can you just give us a brief example?
Actually, I can. When I was in brief. Okay, there were two incidents that actually had a big impact on how I view myself right now. Since you said brief, there's one in primary where, now primary, quiet, I have glasses, I'm in my own little corner doing my work and so forth. And there'll always be the students that always think they're above you and they on top of the class. So
Mm-hmm.
I think once I was on my own business, and then don't understand how you have friends because the day before I was in a little group, and then they said to me the next day, I don't understand how somebody looking like you can have friends. And then I'm sitting there, like watching them, and I'm saying, like, you mean to tell me, like, I'm so ugly that that's the best thing, like, you can say to me or something so. And then I think the next incident that happened to me in secondary school, and that day I'll never forget, was, obviously I'll always have a crush on a girl, because I'm in
Right.
secondary school. So I think I cannot remember what form, but I just know I was in secondary school at the time. And there was this girl I liked, and my classmates actually went and called her and tell her that. She came up to me. I was sitting at my seat, and she came up to me. She said, "I can never like a boy like you. You're so ugly, and your head is so long." And I'm like,
Oh no.
"It's wow." I'm like, "It's yeah."
How
And
do
I
you
actually
feel in
cried.
these moments? Like, okay, okay, so you felt sad, you cried,
Yeah,
and
to be
that
honest,
wasn't a feeling that stayed with you just in that moment. It carried on throughout
yeah,
your life.
yeah,
Right,
and
okay.
yeah, and people would say like, why this situation still on you and so forth. But people have to realize there's a more people have to realize that life and like people are different. Like there's some people you can say something to them and it's like they just don't care, they'll just brush it off. But to
Right.
other people, words mean so much, and people need to realize that. That's why, like in this world, people have to realize that everybody has feelings. Because I remember before I used to say, me, I don't care. Because as I started to go to Form 4, I was starting to tell myself that when you feel you make yourself vulnerable and like when people see you like you care a lot they take advantage over you and so forth. So I used to say me I not caring, I'm full of darkness and all this type of thing. But at the end of the day
Hmm.
I can't say that because at the end of the day I am human and
Right,
everybody on this earth is human. God gave everybody
right.
feelings, sight, touch, taste. God gave everybody this everything. And at the end of the day you cannot say like I do not care. Because deep down, people would just say they do not care to make the other person feel they don't care, but deep down they do care. And
They do care. Some people are
yeah,
just better at masking how they feel,
yeah,
but
exactly,
what we
yeah,
say to others, it has an impact on them. Different
exactly,
people at
agreed.
different degrees, but it will have some form of impact. That's why we need to be careful what we say to others because you never know what somebody is dealing with, right? At home or behind
Exactly,
closed doors. Sometimes that
agreed.
person came to school, work, anywhere for that matter, and they had a rough time at home, and then you approaching them and you saying some unkind words to them that can make them feel even worse. And it can get so extreme to the point that the person may feel suicidal, right? So we
Yeah,
as humans, we need to be careful what we say to others. And sometimes you may say that person, like they're strong enough, they can take what I'm saying to them, but you don't know that for a fact because a lot of people they put on masks, right? They make
yeah,
you think that what you said to them did not impact them, but at night they cry themselves to sleep. That affects their self-confidence. You understand? So we need to be very mindful, sorry, of what we say to others. Okay?
Agreed. And yeah. And I
Yes.
think, and to be honest, children, teenagers, people, I would say teenagers in my generation just take these things for granted. Like, because, like, because obviously we are classmates, jokes will always pass. We having fun, we have to make little memories. But there's just some jokes you just cannot say to people. Like, because I remember once I was on my phone and I saw a quote and they said sometimes people say things as a joke. They disguise it as a joke, but deep down they mean what they say, which is
Right.
so true. Which is so true. People that Now, to be honest, people are so dangerous. And I'm getting older and I'm realizing you cannot call anybody your friends. You just cannot call everybody your friend. And people, human beings are so dangerous. The pain behind bullying, especially verbal, and I'm somebody I take words very personal. That's why
Mm-hmm.
me as an individual, I'm very careful with what I say to people. Very careful. I
Mm-hmm.
remember before I used to just say
Especially
anything.
given
What
what you
I've
experienced.
exact
Yes,
Yeah,
so
and I don't want
now that you
nobody.
experience that, you're more mindful of what
Yeah,
you say to others.
I
Um,
don't want nobody to go through that type of low self-esteem, getting up on a morning and you're just seeing like, why God woke me up this morning, a ugly person like me, and the thoughts are just crazy, very crazy, and the depression, the sadness, you feel alone in your cloud, and it's like you cannot open up to people because people will always see things from their perspective instead of yours. That's why I said, if that's why when people, I feel like I don't feel understood, I wish I could have just take them and just put them inside my body, make them feel what I feel and see how I feel
right,
and everything. But
right. I
that's
can
how life
relate.
works.
I can relate
Yeah,
because sometimes when you express how you feel to persons, they see it as something so trivial. But the only reason they see it that way because they themselves have not gone through an experience like that. So you must
yeah,
never see what persons tell you as being trivial. You have to take it very serious because what that person is going through, um, it may lead to, depression, it may lead to suicidal
yes,
thoughts or even suicide. So if somebody is coming to you and expressing how they feel, you need to make them feel supported. You need to, provide them with means of dealing with the situation, if you get what I'm
yeah.
saying.
I
So
understand. That's so true.
how did that affect your school life? Like waking up on a morning, having gone through that, waking up on a morning, did that deter you from wanting to go to school? Did that affect your grades? Did that affect your friendships at school? How can you give us a brief overview of what it felt like during your school life?
To be honest, I I wouldn't say it affected my friendships. To me, it affected my grades. To be very honest, if I have to look back on these moments, I would say they affected my grades, especially at secondary form, reaching at to form 3. My grades dropped very badly because of that. And and all those things, and I even forgot one emotion that actually I had a lot of because of these situations was anger. And that
Mm,
emotion took a toll on me. It took a very, very big toll on me. And up to this day, I'm trying my best to, work on it, because at the end of the day, I cannot just go out in the world with all that rage and anger. I cannot. I just cannot.
right,
I'm trying my
right.
best to work, and that emotion is very dangerous, very dangerous.
You have to know how to manage that temper, that anger. And
Yeah.
so what helps you cope? or heal from those experiences? And what do you wish people around you had done differently for you to feel supported?
Okay. Yes. Uh, what I wish those around me did was just make me feel understood. That's all I've ever wanted. I love my
Yeah,
family. I have I have one brother and I have three sisters. I have my mother, I have my father. I love my family.
yeah,
And when I was younger, I realized I took them for granted, especially the love from my mother. I took the love from my mother for granted. And each day I wake up, I regret it. But that's for another story. But to be honest,
yes,
I, what I wish people around me did was just to sit down there instead of seeing it from their perspective, for one, just see it through my eyes and just
right.
understand my situation. That's all
Mhm.
what I've always wanted, just to be understood. For all everything I've been through, all the
Mm.
situations, I just wish I was understood. Cause
Yeah, because even with my own experiences with depression, um, I know what it feels like to want to be understood. People think that they
yeah,
need to fix you. They need to, fix you, but that sometimes that's not what you need. You just need somebody to sit here with you and listen to you
honest,
and
yeah,
support you, right? But
agreed,
when
yeah,
you
man.
talk to persons and they don't understand what you're going through and they don't even care to understand, to do their research, it makes you feel dismissed and rejected.
Yeah, it
So
does,
I
it
totally get
does.
what you say when you say you just wish that persons would understand, take the moment to understand how you feel. And
Yeah, and
continuing to our conversation, how did you cope? Or what are you currently doing to heal from those experiences? Are you going to therapy? Are you using different techniques to keep you grounded? How do you deal with your anger, your temper tantrums? How do you deal with those?
all right, for me, I used to go to therapy and I thought it wouldn't work, but when I did it, it actually helped me a lot. It actually did. And I was I remember once I had a session with my therapist and I came out smiling. I was filled with happiness. Like I finally get some things off my chest and I got proper answer that made me feel at ease. If you understand what I'm saying. And like I
Yeah.
was just in shock. And I was feeling after. I think that was my first session with my therapist. And it actually,
Mm.
and as days went by, I continued doing therapy. And then, unfortunately, I had to stop due to my CXCs. And then all the trials I had were done. So, lately, I
So if
had
you're
to
given
stop.
the opportunity to resume, would that be one that you would, take
Oh,
advantage
yes.
of? Mm.
Very,
Yeah. A
very.
lot of people underestimate the power of going to therapy, and a lot of people shy away from it because of the
Yeah,
stigma attached to, going to a therapist. But just like
yeah,
we go to see any other physician, we should, prioritize our mental health and seek, the professional help that we need, whether it be
exactly.
from a therapist, a counselor, or a psychiatrist. We
Now
have to
I
take
love
care of our mental health.
our mental health. I love
Mm-hmm.
that statement you just said because people take these things for granted, especially mental
Yes.
health. Just like
Mm-hmm.
cancer, diabetes, all these sicknesses are very detrimental to the human
Exactly.
nature. But
Right.
people think mental health is just something like like a minor flu. People think mental health
Right.
is like a minor flu, and I
And this
highly
is not what it
disagree.
is because exactly
I
mental
highly
health can take
disagree.
a significant toll on your social
Very.
life, your professional life, and then if it gets to a point that is so severe, it actually um You actually start getting
Yeah.
physical symptoms, right? You will have your heart racing, you will have frequent headaches, you will
Yes. And
be anxious all the time. So it does have an impact on your physical health as well. Your mental health has an impact on your physical health. And I think it has a lot to do with, just how we grew up in the Caribbean. Like the older generation, they expect you to just, just move on
yes,
with life.
yes.
But this is not how it is.
Yeah.
Although now that I've realized that, person they try to promote mental health a little more now, but I still don't think that it has gotten to the point that it should be, you know?
Agreed. Agreed,
Right.
yes.
Yes, I totally
Yes.
agree with you on that. Where I want mental health to be, like the way it's being promoted, and not only I around the world, because everybody have their problems. Everybody has
Right.
problems. Like
Mhm.
down
But
in
we
the
need to
making.
learn the right techniques to deal with those
Yeah.
problems. And sometimes we cannot do this on our own, or we cannot get family members to help us in that regard because they don't know the proper techniques that we need to deal with those situations. So that's where professional help comes in. That's why we go to the therapist. The same way when we're physically ill, sometimes we don't know how to treat, right, that illness. We go to a physician.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing for mental health. You go to a therapist, you go to a psychiatrist, and you just do what you need to do for you to feel better, right? Because when your mental health is at stake, every other aspect of your life comes crumbling down.
Agreed. Highly
Mhm.
agree on that.
Yeah.
Because let me say one thing. If you look
Hmm.
at it so, the brain operates just like a computer. What happens in the brain happens all over your body. The brain is in control of every
Right.
part of your body, and the
That is
and
so correct.
mental, and that's the main word in that term, mental health. That has to do with your brain.
Mhm.
So if you're having
Right.
panic attacks, you hallucinating, all these things can take a very high toll on your body, and that can just send you insane and make you think you crazy. And then sometimes you go to people and people just don't understand. People will actually sit in your face and call you crazy. And
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
the humanity really needs to change. I just wish humanity really needs to change. People have to realize that just by sitting down and genuinely understanding a person's thoughts, every word that comes out of
Hmm.
their mouth can go a very long way. Can go a
It
very
can.
long way.
It
And
can.
that's
It
what
can.
I wish people would understand as years go by. As years go by. That's what I really wish
Yes,
people
and
would
that's
understand.
something I wish to see as well. I want to see mental health being taken as seriously as physical health is
Exactly.
being taken.
Yeah.
And I want the stigma that surrounds mental health, to stop, because some
Yeah.
persons they do not seek the professional help that they need out of fear that others will look down on them. Because when persons say, I'm going to the therapist, I'm going to the psychiatrist, persons automatically think that
Think,
you're that mad
yeah.
person that
That needs to be
that's on the
stopped.
street, or and that's not what it is. That's not what it is. It just means that your mental health is working in overdrive and you need some assistance. You understand?
Yeah.
Um, okay, in the interest of time, let's wrap up. So what message would you give to someone currently being bullied?
Okay? Like you just said, try and get professional help. Because if you see at the point where it started for me, if I was given the opportunity to get a professional at that young age, I think a lot of decisions I made and the way I went about certain aspects of my life, I would
Mm-hmm.
have do certain things differently. But
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, I didn't get that chance. But what I would say to somebody getting bullied right now is just try and seek professional help. Beg your
Right. And
parents.
Beg
right. I
to
was
try
just
and
coming to
get
say that.
professional.
Like, if you're a minor and you don't have the finances to seek professional help, that's where our parents come in. And that's
Yeah.
where parents need to, give the child that, like make the child feel comfortable enough to come to
Yeah.
you and express what they're currently going through. And you as a parent, you need to, make the decision to get that professional help for the child, right? So I definitely agree with you when you say that somebody who is going through that, if you're if you're not able to get that professional help in the moment, either you're a minor or finances are just not on your you're just not in a financial
on your
place,
side.
right? To seek the professional help, find somebody who you can speak to, somebody that will genuinely, somebody that genuinely cares about you and they want to help you. Find somebody. If you cannot get that in your immediate family, go to your extended family. If you cannot get that kind of support in your extended family, go to a trusted friend. If you cannot get that support from trusted friends, seek community, right? There must be
Yeah.
someone out there that is willing to help you, right? And even us having gone through that, I'm sure you're more than open to sit down and listen to someone else's story and help them
Mm,
so that they themselves can overcome whatever challenges
more
that
than
they're
you know.
facing.
Yeah. More
Right.
than you know. To be honest,
Somebody can come up to me and tell me they need to talk. I'm putting everything I have to do aside and I'm focused. These things, like, that's what I've always been saying. People take these things for granted. These things are so
Hmm.
serious. These things are
It
so
is.
serious. Imagine,
It is.
I
It
can
is
always,
very serious.
I remember there was one point in time that it was so bad in me. I crawled up in a corner of my room and
Mm,
I was just staying, just staying into the air, just staying. And I
mm,
couldn't, and there was a point in time I couldn't hear nothing around me. I was just hearing my heart beating. I was
mm.
just hearing my heart, and I'm not wishing that on nobody, nobody. That's why
Yeah.
I always say, any of my friends, they come and talk to me about any situation, the romantic relationships or so forth. I'm putting everything I have aside and I'm focusing and I'm going to do my best to give them proper advice because I've been through these things and there's so
Right.
many things that can lead you to mental issues
Right.
and that's one thing I just really wish people would understand, especially parents, because at the end of the day, not all of our parents are in our times. If you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
like
Yeah. They
everybody
have
has
that
them.
old way of thinking.
Yeah. Like
I
the
guess you.
different.
Generations, like like for example, my mother is a very positive woman, very positive, and sometimes I wish I had her positivity, especially as I'm in college right now. I wish I had her positivity. I really wish I
Yeah.
had it. But to me, it's very difficult for my brain to just tell myself something positive. And
Right. And it's a
Right now.
process. It's a process.
Yeah.
That's why I would advise you to continue the therapy, continue that healing journey, right? Those bullying experiences that occurred over several years. So it won't just go away overnight. We have to continue
Yeah.
actively, healing. Um, Okay, so time is against us. I wish we could have continued this conversation. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed this conversation with you, and thank you so much for taking time out, and just sharing your story with others with hope that it would help someone out there. So thank you so much, David, for your time.
What you've just heard is one young person's journey to the reality of bullying. Their courage in sharing reminds us that behind every statistic is a human story, one that deserves compassion, understanding, and change. Healing from bullying is a journey. It may begin with journaling, therapy, or simply speaking to someone you trust. It may mean finding strength in community or reclaiming your voice through advocacy and storytelling. Every step matters, no matter how small. This conversation has been real. Look out for part two coming soon. Thank you so much for listening. This has been your host, Rochelle Lawrenson, signing out.